Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hail Mary. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to stop listening to the newest Taylor Swift album about Travis Kelce's giant shadoing and listening to the Hail Mary. I appreciate you being back. I apologize for Friday. I woke up and absolutely no power in the house. I was so confused. I was like, I paid my light bill. I paid the power bill. What is going on? They were installing a new telephone pole and they had to shut off the power. So I had obviously no power. And it sucked, and I absolutely hated it, and I was freaking out, and yeah, please never do that again. Never, ever do that again. Also, if you hear, noises, there are two houses on my street that are getting roofs done, so if you hear nail guns and stuff, just know that it is not me, and I don't have anybody hiding in my basement. Alright, so, we have some things that we gotta talk about, mainly about, mostly, actually everything about football. Let's just start it off, and I want to talk about the best thing that happened to me all week. I was cheesing, I was grinning ear to ear because I was so happy to watch Penn State get beat down, bootied down by UCLA. It was beautiful. I absolutely enjoyed it so much because there is no fan base on the planet that deserves a loss like this more than Penn State fans. And this segues into what I want to talk about today. And that is media personalities and why they're getting paid millions and millions of dollars to essentially guess and be wrong. All offseason, we heard, hey, Arch Manning, he is the best prospect that we've seen in college football since Tim Tebow. This kid's going to sling it. He's already a lock for the Heisman. He walked into the swamp, got beat down. He didn't even look like a quarterback, let alone, he didn't even look like a football player, let alone a quarterback. He looked terrible. He's played 2 road games this year, Ohio State and Florida. And what happened in both? He's looked like absolute garbage in both games. I'm sick of media personalities are claiming that they already know what's going to happen before it happens. And I'm not here to say that I'm the smartest person in the world when it comes to football. However, I was listening to all these people like Paul Feinbaum and whoever else say, hey, Arch Manning, he's going to be the next Tim Tebow. He's going to be the next big thing. He's going to win the Heisman. The kid didn't start a single game versus a competent program throughout his entire career. And I heard, oh, he's going to walk into Ohio State and just dummy them. Look at everyone Ohio State lost. Arch Manning's the guy, and you're going to have to accept that and just give Texas a national championship. You're wrong. You were absolutely wrong. I heard all offseason that this is Texas's year. Arch Manning is the guy, and we're just going to have to hand him the Heisman. You were wrong. 1,000%. And then, on the flip side, I had to hear the same thing about Penn State football. I heard it all offseason, look at who they're bringing back. Oh my God, they just got Jim Knowles from Ohio State. They poached him away. James Franklin, can he finally get over the hump? I think this is the year that he can. No. Texas and Penn State in the preseason AP rankings, whatever, were 1 and 2. There was no reason for that whatsoever. Zero. Have you looked at the history of these teams? Mostly Penn State. James Franklin cannot beat a good team. And I guess he said, hey, screw all you guys. Instead of losing to a good team, I'm going to lose to the worst team in all of Power 4. And that's exactly what he did. UCLA is terrible. They are not a good team whatsoever. And that's why I say Penn State fans deserve this loss. Because all offseason, I would ask a question to Penn State fans. I would be like, hey guys, be real with me. Why do you guys actually think that you're a national title contender? Now, I'm not saying that they were a terrible team. They have a great running game sometimes. They do have good running backs. Their defense is better with Jim Knowles. But I would say to them, hey, Drew Aller is not that good. He's not that good of a quarterback. And I would ask that question. I would pose that question to them, and I would want an actual answer from them. Being like, why do you guys actually think that even with James Franklin as your head coach, and even with Drew Aller as your quarterback, why do you think that this is your year to finally win the national championship? And you know the answer I would get? Because we are Penn State, bro. That's why. we're Penn State. Whiteout, bro. Well, Penn State, blah, blah, blah. That's literally this kind of shit that I would get. Talking to Penn State fans is like talking to a brick wall. And if I said anything that disparaged the team, I made a video, I talked about this before, but I made a video talking about the whiteout, saying, hey, Penn State hasn't played a good team in the whiteout in a while. They've beaten these bad teams, which is good for them. That's what you're supposed to do when you play bad teams. Oregon is a good team. They are walking into the whiteout, and I think they're going to beat you. And people lit me up. Penn State fans lit me up, telling me I had no idea what I was talking about. Oh my God, you don't know football. Bro, we're Penn State. And I was obviously right. These Penn State fans deserve this loss to the 1,000,000th degree. This is something that they needed. And it's not going to humble them because they're still going to go on their rah-rah, we are Penn State, and oh, you don't get it, bro. We had to fly across the country, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Ohio State just flew across the country last week and beat a team in Washington that I was told, again, had a top 5 stadium in the country. And so, yeah, that's all I got to say about that, about Penn State fans. You guys deserve this loss, 1,000%. And these media members, they basically are just getting paid to guess. I was told Penn State, number 2 in the country. They're going to go on, win the Big Ten championship and win the national championship. And then they're going to end up playing Texas in the national championship because Arch Manning, he's the guy. He's going to win the Heisman this year, and there's nothing you could do to stop him. These media personalities quite literally have no idea what they're talking about. I think the only reason why they get paid millions of dollars is because they have an email list the size of a fucking scroll from Skyrim. Like, it's crazy to me why these people get paid this much money to guess and be wrong. I could have told you that Ohio State all year was probably going to be the number 1 team in the country. They tried telling me otherwise. Am I smarter than them? Probably. Honestly. I could have told you, hey, yes, Ohio State is losing their quarterback. Yes, Ohio State is losing a lot of their defense, but guess what? They still have the best 2 players in the country in Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. I literally could have told you that, but no, these guys have to get paid millions of dollars to be absolutely wrong. They force this hype. The only thing that I can say is the only reason why I think they were forcing so much Arch Manning hype is because this is all coming from ESPN, and ESPN likes to dick ride the SEC 1,000%. That's literally the only reason. Well, that, and plus his name is Arch Manning, his last name is Manning. The Penn State thing, I'm so confused about. I don't understand why the media was so infatuated with Penn State this year. Again, James Franklin is their head coach, and Drew Aller is their quarterback. Drew Aller has proven that he's not that good of a quarterback. And if I was an NFL GM today, and I've seen these past 2 games, Oregon and UCLA, I'm not taking him to like the 3rd round, to be honest. There's going to be a team that overdrafts him because he's built like fucking Anthony Richardson. I talked about this before, but he throws like Anthony Richardson as well. Penn State fans, through it all, you guys deserve this loss, and honestly, Texas fans, you guys kind of do too, because, at the beginning of the year, I said, hey, I don't think Texas is going to be able to walk into Ohio State and beat Texas, and I was told, go fuck yourself, Arch Manning is the guy. So, obviously, I was right. I'm smarter than 99% of these media personalities who assume that Penn State and Texas were going to be easy cakewalks walking into the national championship game, and I literally could have told you that these teams... Listen, I had these teams in the playoffs. Right now, these are not playoff teams, I'll tell you that. But I had these teams in the playoffs, but I did not have them in the national championship game. These teams, both of these fan bases, mostly Penn State, both of these fan bases, though, deserve these losses. 1,000% in my opinion. And these media personalities, listen, if you are ESPN, if you are Fox, if you are Barstool, if you are whoever watching this right now, I would like $1 million because I was more right than the 99% of football analysts, experts out there who tried to tell me that Texas and Penn State were the 2 best teams in the country. They're idiots, and they get paid millions of dollars to be idiots. I went on a 9-minute rant there about Penn State, but let's talk about Mark Sanchez. I'm not going to... Well, this whole situation was weird, this Mark Sanchez situation. We got a report on, I forget when it was, Saturday or something like that Mark Sanchez was stabbed. And everyone's like, holy shit, that's that's actually like crazy news. Mark Sanchez was stabbed. You had every single former player and analyst under the sun being like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. Mark Sanchez is the nicest guy. This couldn't happen to a nicer person. Then come to find out a few hours later, we get an Adam Schefter report that Mark Sanchez was arrested while he was still in the hospital recovering from his stab wound. And then people got a little bit quiet. All these analysts who were saying that he was the nicest guy got a little bit quiet. The story of this is apparently Mark Sanchez was blasted drunk, possibly on another substance. I don't know. I wasn't there. This is all alleged. Was blasted on alcohol for sure. That's what the guy who got assaulted said. He was double parked, and he was swapping out items for a kitchen. I believe it was like frying oil or something like that I read. He was double parked, and Mark Sanchez apparently took exception to this, saying that the hotel manager at the place that this guy was working at or working for, the hotel manager said he wasn't allowed to park there. So Mark Sanchez took exception to this, went over to the guy and just started berating and attacking him. Like, just beating the shit out of him, which apparently alcohol had to have been involved, maybe even some other substance. Listen, I've had drinks before, and guess what? I've never gone out and physically assaulted somebody after I've had 12 drinks. Like, learn how to control yourself. Like, seriously, it's not that freaking hard. I get it. Like, bro, it's just the alcohol. Maybe you're just a weak-minded person. I don't know about that. But yeah, apparently Mark Sanchez just started absolutely attacking this guy. The guy pulled out pepper spray and sprayed Mark Sanchez. It worked for a second. Mark Sanchez apparently wiped it out of his eyes and then stormed at this guy. And the guy who got assaulted said, hey, I thought I was going to die. Like, he had a murderous look in his eyes. I thought that he was going to end my life because I was double parked and unloading frying oil. Like, Mark Sanchez had to have been on something other than alcohol. You do not act like this unless you are a mentally weak person on alcohol. Like, why are you putting this matter in your own hands because a guy is double parked? Anyway, Mark Sanchez got pepper sprayed. It didn't work. So the guy said Mark Sanchez charged at him. He pulled out his knife and stabbed him. Everybody, all these media analysts are like, oh my God, this had to have been an unjustified attack. I can't believe it. Mark Sanchez is the nicest guy. This is crazy. It couldn't happen to a better person. Why does this have to happen? Why do bad things happen to good people? Yeah, well, Mark Sanchez is apparently a piece of shit when he's had a couple adult apple juices, adult fizzy soda bread pops, because what is going on? Like, every single, like, everyone was like, oh my God, he's the nicest person. I can't believe this happened. Come to find out, he tried to murder a man for being double parked. That was it. I was following this story all week. One of the weirdest stories I've ever heard. Like, maybe we should stop being like, oh my God, he was the nicest guy before we judge. Same thing happened. I'm not going to really touch this Kyron Lacey thing because it's crazy, but Kyron Lacey, innocent, and the cops who did that to him, they should be fucking thrown under the jail. But yeah, this whole Mark Sanchez thing. Dude, what are you doing? Couple fizzy pops and you want to fucking murder somebody for being double parked. What a loser. Speaking of loser, let's talk about Bill Belichick, because this is what UNC. My God, they have people leaving the building in the second quarter. Bill Belichick needs to leave, needs to step down as the head coach at UNC. I truly believe 1,000% that he didn't want to do this in the first place. I think this was all, I think this was all Jordan's idea. I do not think Bill Belichick wanted to be the coach at UNC. I think Jordan wanted to be dating somebody in power so she can kind of start forcing her way into sports or something like that. Because essentially what happened was Bill Belichick became the head coach, things started getting weird, and then Jordan started interjecting herself in everything. Interviews, team meetings, just, it's ridiculous what's going on right now. And Bill Belichick is playing the baby game right now. Drake May last night, which we'll talk about in a little bit, Drake May led the Patriots to beating the Buffalo Bills. That's huge. The Bills were undefeated, and the Patriots were kind of sputtering a little bit. And Drake May walked into Buffalo and got a big win. Apparently, Bill Belichick said that they are not allowed to mention anything about the New England Patriots. Drake May, who went to UNC, and because he plays for the Patriots, they were not allowed to make any mention of his name. That's why you didn't see any tweets from the UNC football account being like, hey, congratulations to Drake May. Because Bill Belichick is so salty that he sucks as a college coach. He actually sucked as a head coach after Tom Brady left. But he is so salty that he is, one, not letting scouts into the practice facility, not letting scouts watch these players, and now they're not even allowed to make mention of their former collegiate players because Bill Belichick is afraid and embarrassed that he sucks at being a coach. He really does. I do not think that he wants to coach UNC. He should 1,000% step down. He's getting embarrassed. People are leaving games in the second quarter. I get that you played Clemson. Clemson, not the best team right now, but put some fight into it. Like, try to win a game. Like, he's beating up on piss poor teams. Bill Belichick needs to step down as the coach, and it's embarrassing how he's acting, not letting scouts go to games, not letting players get mentioned by UNC. He's just, it's weird. It's really weird what's going on with Bill Belichick. And again, I don't think he wanted to coach. I think this was all Jordan's idea. She said, hey, I won't give you that Samsung Spin Cycle 3000 Gawk if you don't coach. It's weird to me what's going on with UNC right now. But yeah, the Buffalo Bills, though, speaking of Drake May, Buffalo Bills get their first loss. Buffalo Bills get their first loss by the hands of Drake May. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Who would have thought that the Buffalo Bills would lose a game in which Ramondre Stevenson wants to be a fumble lord? But yeah, this was just one of those things where I'm not going to say you saw it from a mile away, but this was one of those situations where, like last week, Josh Allen kind of did the thing where they were struggling versus the Saints, the Bills were, and Josh Allen kind of said like, hey, what are we doing? This team sucks. I'm Josh Allen. I'm going to just go out there and figure it out, and we're going to win the game. Not really able to do that this week. I'm not saying that Josh Allen played terribly, but he wasn't able to do the thing where he just kind of took over a game and won. Where I thought that, honestly, even though with 15 seconds left in that game, after the Patriots kicked the field goal, I truly thought, I was like, Josh Allen is 1,000% going to find a way to get into field goal range with 8 seconds left on the clock and no timeouts. I was like, he's going to throw a deep fucking corner route or something, and they're going to get out at the 50, and then they're going to kick like a 70-yard field goal. Like something like that. Like I just figured that Josh Allen was going to have that magic, but it didn't happen this week. Hey, listen, it's hard to win in the NFL. It's hard to go undefeated in the NFL, and both of the undefeated teams that we had left, both lost. We had the Eagles and we had the Bills, and they both lost. The Eagles lost this week to the Denver Broncos, and this again, listen, I don't think that we have like a super dominant team right now in the NFL. It's maybe other than the Lions, honestly, but the Lions kind of sputtered towards the end of that game yesterday. But we're seeing right now that, teams are vulnerable, and the Bills, they got exposed by the Patriots. The Patriots had a pretty good run game. Mostly, though, Drake May and Stephon Diggs went freaking off. They went nuclear yesterday. What, it was like 168 something like that. I forget the exact number, but Stephon Diggs and Drake May went off yesterday. It was kind of funny because I did think that the Patriots were trying to clip farm a touchdown for Stephon Diggs so he could do his pose in front of all the Bills fans flipping him off or whatever. But yeah, we see that the Eagles lost, the Bills lost, just crazy. Absolute craziness yesterday in the NFL. I think in that Eagles game as well, I think AJ Brown wants out. You saw that the big play of the game was I think it was just like a normal like little fade or streak route that AJ Brown ran, and it looked like he stopped on the route. Some people are blaming Jalen Hurts for throwing the ball bad. Some people are blaming AJ Brown for stopping on the route. I think he just looks disinterested. I think he doesn't want to be in Philadelphia right now. I really don't. If I am the Eagles right now, I'm not actively shopping him, but if somebody comes to me with a good offer, if somebody offers me like a first-round pick, absolutely, I would trade A.J. Brown for that. If I'm the New England Patriots, just coming off the heels of beating the Buffalo Bills, I would maybe be like, hey, what do you guys want for A.J. Brown? He already played with Mike Vrabel. I think it makes a ton of sense. I don't even think they'd have to give up a first-round pick to get him, but I do think that if I'm the Eagles, I'm not actively shopping A.J. Brown, but if somebody comes to me and they're like, hey, we'll give you this, I think it works out, because I'm not saying A.J. Brown is a hindrance to the team right now, but there are weeks that he'll have, 2 targets and 18 yards and a terrible game, and he'll go on Twitter and he'll bitch and moan about it, allegedly, because they're cryptic tweets. You know how it is with wide receivers. They're all divas. But then the next week, it's like, oh, he was complaining all week. We're going to try to force feed him the ball. And then it doesn't work out for the team in the long run. This team has an identity, and it is Saquon Barkley. It is Jalen Hurts. And it is occasionally throwing the ball when they need to. Because, honestly, I think that this team could get away with just handing the ball off to Saquon Barkley and running around in circles with Jalen Hurts. Now, yes, it's good to have a wide receiver like A.J. Brown, but I feel that they'll still be in championship contention if they get rid of A.J. Brown. I do not think that this Philadelphia Eagles team truly needs him to win games. I don't think so. And if they get a good offer, I think they'd be fools not to accept it. And I think that the Patriots would be a perfect fit for A.J. Brown. Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, already played. He played with Mike Vrabel. I think it makes a ton of sense. I really do. And I don't even think the Patriots would have to give up a first-round pick to get him. They could probably give up like a second and a third or a second and a fourth, to be honest, and maybe like a player. I don't know. Listen, I think it makes all the sense in the world. The Eagles, they're kind of they're not sputtering right now. Well, they are a little bit, because that Rams game, they struggled in the first half, then they came out in the second half. Then in the Tampa Bay game, they looked awesome in the first half, sputtered in the second half, and now they just lost. So, listen, they're not putting it together for a full 60 minutes right now. So, maybe they do need to make a change. Maybe they should get rid of A.J. Brown. Maybe that'll do more for... Listen, maybe it might be addition by subtraction. I don't know. Just that I think if they get a good offer for A.J. Brown, I think they'd be fools not to accept it. Speaking of fools, Amari DeMarcado, I think that's his name, whatever. Yeah, what a fool. What a fool. Why are we in 2025 still dropping the ball before we cross the goal line? And what happened in that Cardinals and Titans game? We had the craziest touchdown I've ever seen, where there was an interception and then it was fumbled and then the ball was kicked around. What? And then DeMarcado essentially cost the Arizona Cardinals the game. Because if he scores that touchdown there, they go up super big and the game is pretty much over. But after that play, the Titans started rumbling back and the Titans ended up beating the Cardinals, where, again, it was just such a weird game. You had that play, and then you had the coach of the Cardinals hitting DeMarcado for fumbling, which honestly I think that he should have done more. He probably should have locked him in a porta potty and shook it up, because why, again, in 2025, why are we fumbling the ball before we cross the goal line? Listen, do this, run through the play, why? I don't get it. I truly do not get it. Stick him in a porta potty and have all your D linemen just shake it. Because that's what he deserves right now. Because he freaked over the team. I'm not going to swear. I feel so bad for people who had him in fantasy. I had him on my bench. I started Michael Carter. I still lost this week, though. Who cares? But there was a guy, I think he had it was $10 to win 1,600 or something like that. All he needed was a DeMarcado touchdown. I would be sick to my stomach. That is a situation where you should DM the player and be like, you owe me money, because that is craziness. And then Kyler Murray ended up getting a concussion for getting hit in the face with a snap. What? That game was drunk yesterday. But seriously, I think the punishment for DeMarcado, listen, again, I'm going to say it one more time. Why in 2025 are we not running through the goal line with the ball? Stop fumbling the ball before you cross the goal line. It's absurd. You should be put in a porta potty, and your offensive line and defensive line, both collectively, should be able to pick it up and shake it while you're in there. Because there is zero reason in 2025 why we are not holding on to the ball going through the goal line. And listen, people were mad at Coach Gannon for hitting them. Don't fumble the ball. That is the stupidest play I've ever seen. Now listen, you shouldn't physically assault your players also wearing pads, so people crying about, oh my God, he should be filed. He should be filed. He punched him. Shut up. He should be put in a porta potty and it should be shaken. Should be shaken up like a for real shake that you get at Sheets. Stop fumbling the ball! Stupid! The final thing I want to talk about is the AFC North. And I wrote an article yesterday. And I'm going to talk about it with you guys. Mike Tomlin is by far and away the best coach in all of the AFC North. And I would have to, there are times that I'm sick of Mike Tomlin. And I'm going to put my hand up on this. Because there are times that I am calling for Mike Tomlin to be out of Pittsburgh. Because sometimes what I think is happening is I feel that Mike Tomlin is sometimes his messaging, his voice is getting stale in the locker room. And yes, it is a running joke that the Pittsburgh Steelers go 9-8 and then they'll lose in the first round of the playoffs. It's actually not even a joke, it's reality. However, the Ravens got destroyed yesterday. Not even a close game to the Texans. Mike Tomlin has won games in which his roster was worse than what the Ravens had yesterday. I truly believe that if any other coach in the AFC North, so you take Kevin Stefanski, you take Zach Taylor, you take John Harbaugh, you give them some of these Steeler teams where they had Kenny Pickett as their quarterback, just like TJ Watt's hurt and Cam Hayward's hurt. You give them those rosters, I honestly feel that Harbaugh, Taylor, and Kevin Stefanski's already a 3-14 coach, but they would have no idea how to coach a roster like this. They would be sputtering, they would fold, they would be complaining, they would lose their jobs. Mike Tomlin takes these rosters that are sometimes just piss poor, horrible, and we see it because then they get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, but still finds a way to make the playoffs. Harbaugh, Taylor, Stefanski, if they had those rosters, some of these rosters that Mike Tomlin had, they would be out of a job within 2 seconds. They would go crazy because of how bad these teams were. And yet Mike Tomlin still finds a way to go 9-8 with Kenny Pickett as his quarterback, with Russell Wilson as his quarterback, like Mitch Trubisky as his quarterback. You get what I'm saying? Like, there are times that I'm sick of Mike Tomlin because we know what's going to happen every single year. It's 9-8, bounce in the first round of the playoffs, and that's about it. But my take on it is you give Mike Tomlin a roster. You know what you're getting with Mike Tomlin. You know 1,000% you're getting over 500 and you're getting a first round bounce. That's what you're getting. But the Ravens yesterday, sure, they were down their quarterback. They were down a bunch of people in their defense. The roster that they had yesterday was still better than some of these Pittsburgh Steelers teams that we've seen in the past. And John Harbaugh is proving that he can't coach when he doesn't have Lamar Jackson running around in circles for 10 minutes of play. Derrick Henry is a fumble merchant. This team got exposed by the Texans, who got their first win versus, who was it? The Titans. They won like 26-0 versus the Titans. Like, the Ravens are not a good team. And honestly, I don't even want to hear that, dude, it's injuries. That's why we suck. Is that why you guys blew that Bills game? Is that why you guys got destroyed by the Chiefs? Is that why you guys got destroyed by the Lions? Sure, you beat up on the Browns. Congratulations. I don't want to hear that the Ravens got destroyed yesterday just because of injuries. You got destroyed because you're not a good team. You're not a good team right now. And I'm telling you, if John Harbaugh had to coach a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers sometimes put out the past couple of years, John Harbaugh would have been fired. He may win 2 games, 3 if he's lucky. I'm being dead serious right now. 1000% dead serious. So yes, I get sick of Mike Tomlin sometimes. I feel like his messaging is getting stale in the locker room. We know what we're getting with Mike Tomlin. We know that we're getting a 9-8 season. We know we're getting bounced in the first round. But guess what? He's still finding a way to make the playoffs with some of these rosters that just do not absolutely cut it. It's crazy to me right now that we are going to try to give the Ravens a pass. And we've seen that even with a full loaded roster, they suck. They are not a good team. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this edition of the Hail Mary. I hope you guys have a beautiful week. Enjoy Monday Night Football tonight. We have hockey starting on Tuesday. I actually can't wait to start talking about hockey. Some of you are like, what, fucking hockey? Yeah, we're going to talk about hockey. I like hockey. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening to this edition of the Hail Mary. I hope you guys have a beautiful week. Be sure to check us out on all of our platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube. You know, we're everywhere. If you were watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so you never miss another episode of the Hail Mary. And if you were listening to this on Spotify, please rate and give us 5 stars. That would be sweet. That would be awesome. Like I said, follow us on all of our short form platforms. Check out our website, hailmary.media, where you can read all of our latest blogs. And and sign up for our free newsletter where you will get weekly picks absolutely free. I give 1 free pick for every NFL game. I give 6 free picks for college football. And then also in my newsletter, I give out 2 additional picks as well. You are getting a plethora of picks absolutely free. All you got to do is sign up for my newsletter. And again, it is absolutely free. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this edition of the Hail Mary. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you all again on Friday, hopefully, if we don't lose power again. Guys, have a beautiful week. See ya.